Hello everyone. In this video, we will be talking and doing a demo on load balancer. So load balancer and EC2, these are the primary resources we will be using in this video. So the idea is very simple. I will create two EC2 instances, EC2 1 and EC2 2. And in both, I'll be deploying one web application. And this web application will be accessed through load balancer. So we will attach these two EC2 instances to the load balancer, and we will expose this load balancer URL to outside world. So from internet, anybody wants to access our website, they will not directly come to the EC2 instances using public IP or a domain name, which I map, but they will hit load balancer and all the incoming traffic will come to the load balancer. This load balancer will be balancing the load between these two EC2 instances. It will be like 50-50. Half will go to EC2 1 and the other will come to EC2 2. The idea is this. So let's begin a demo. Let me hide this. Okay, this is my management console. So I'm right now in home page of my management console. Right now I'm in region Mumbai. Let's begin. First, let me create two EC2 instances. Let me go to instances. And then launch instances. Okay, I can create both instances at a single shot. So let me select two. So I'll be creating two EC2 instances. Let me name it as EC2. Later, I can modify the name of the EC2, which is getting created. And then application is Amazon Linux, AWS. Application and OS image it is. So I'm just selecting Linux image and I'll leave it default. I'm not changing the architecture. The instance type, make sure that you have selected T2.micro because that is eligible for free tier. And I'm not going to proceed with creating a key pair. I will proceed without a key pair. Network, I will leave it the default settings. Let us allow HTTPS and HTTP because this EC2 what we are going to create is exposing web application. So to access web application, we need either HTTP or HTTPS in case if it is secured web application deployment you make. So that's it about the security. And then at last, there is one more new thing that I'll be using some user data, and that user data will be executed once for the lifetime of this particular EC2 instances. So I'll put some code, and this code will be automatically executed during EC2 instance setup. Let me copy, paste that code. So this code means this is a set of Linux commands which will be executed during the EC2 instance creation. So now this code will be executed on both the systems, both the instances what we are going to create. Now let me say launch instance. It will not take much time. So it will be creating both the instances, and both the instances will get the user data, whatever I have given. Those commands gets installed. So what we are doing, like in the instructions, we just updated the Linux machine and then we installed a web server. And then we have added some basic code. So whenever somebody is requesting for the web application running in my EC2, they'll get that particular response. Fine, let me go to the EC2 instance. Currently, both are pending. Let me just edit name. So this is EC2 1. And let me also edit this name as well, EC2 2. Still, the request is pending. Instance state is pending. Let us wait for some more time. So the moment it becomes running, then we can start accessing it. Yeah, the one is running. Let me get the public IP of this and check whether I can access web application or not. Yeah, it will take some time. You need to wait. It means, see, this is the web application. So web application is not a fancy HTML page. It is just sending some data. So what it is saying, it is hello from the IP of this EC2 instance, which is running in Mumbai. So this is the private IP. If you want, you can go and check it. So this is the public IP when you're trying to hit. Okay, let me get inside this, get the private IP. See, this is the private IP of this particular instance, that is 172.31.34.209. So 172.31.34.209. So it is just sending some, okay, this is my IP, just to differentiate from where the response is coming. Is it from EC2 1 or EC2 2? The same way, let me go and check the other EC2 instance. Let me copy the public IP and hit the public IP. So this will also send me a similar message like this, but the IP address will be different. See here. So this IP is 209 ending with, and this is 107. And if you get inside this EC2 instance, we'll see. So this is the 107. The idea is very clear. Okay, fine. So what we have done now is, so we have created EC2 instance. In both the EC2 instance, we have deployed our web application, but slightly web application will be just sending the private IP of the system in which they are running. Fine. Now, let us expose these two instances not directly, but through load balancer. For that, let us create a load balancer. Let me open a new duplicate tab. In here, search for load balancer. Yeah, this is a load balancer. So we are in the Mumbai region. Create a load balancer. So you have three options. One is application load balancer, network load balancer, and gateway load balancer. If you want to bring in a firewall, okay, in between your users and as well as the system which is running in behind, then you can go with this gateway load balancer. This will increase the security. And then if you want to go and control the traffic in terms of HTTP and HTTPS protocol, then you can go with application load balancer. And this one, if you want to have a ultra low latency performance, then you can go with this network load balancer. Right now, we will go with application load balancer and let's say create. And let's give a name, my application load balancer 1. So are you going to face this load balancer internal? It means within our VPC or outside to the internet. So that's the thing. So I will make it internet facing and the IP address to be IPv4. And then I'll leave all those settings default and let me create load balancer on all the availability zones here. This is a best practice because when we use load balancer in future, auto scaling in future along with load balancer, that time auto scaling will automatically create EC2 instances, and then there will be scattering all the EC2 instance creation in all the availability zones. So that's why it's better to choose load balancer, create load balancer in all the availability zones. And then let me create a new security group. Let me just go and click here, and then it will take me to a security group creation page. Let's say SG application load balancer SG. If you want, you can give description, but that is optional. So this is the VPC I want to create. So let's create everything in the default VPC itself. And then we will add an inbound role. Inbound role is for HTTP. So anyone who will access this load balancer at the port number 80 source anywhere IPv4, okay, then it will be allowed. So inbound rule, which is requesting for port number 80 from anywhere, will be allowed. Let me just add the rule. Fine. And then say create security group. Okay, let me give security group. So now the security group got created. Let me add this security group, that is ALBSG here. Let me refresh and remove the default security group. Let me go and check that ALBSG. So this is the security group I have created and select that. It is selected. Now here, to which port this load balancer will be listening, that is 80. Okay, fine. And then we need to create a target group. So what exactly this means, see, we have created EC2 instances and we have created a load balancer. So what we will do, we will create a target group, and this target group will consist of the EC2 instances. And then we will attach this target group to this particular load balancer. So now what load balancer will do, inside this target group, how many EC2 instances are there, and it will balance the load among those available EC2 instances. So that's where we will be creating a target group now. Let me go and say create a new target group. So we are creating a target group for EC2 instances. That's why we select instances. Target group name is ALB target group. And then this will be also listening to the port HTTP at 80 port number. It is IPv4. The traffic is going to be HTTP1 version. And rest I will leave the default as it is. And then these two EC2 instances I have to select and then include as pending below, and then create a target group. So what we have done is this, like we have created a target group by registering these two EC2 instances, and this target group I have to register with load balancer. Let me do that now here. Let me refresh and check for the target group. So this is the target group which I have created right now, and select that target group. And then we can leave all the rest and then say create load balancer. It will take a couple of minutes. The moment it is ready, then we will continue. Go to the load balancer page. See, this is the load balancer which we have created. And the state, it is saying that it is still provisioning. So that state must change to running. Then we can use this particular load balancer. So idea is that I'll be using this DNS name of the load balancer here. So it means I'll be giving this DNS name to all my users, all these users who are there in the internet. Okay, they'll get this DNS name. So when they try to access that particular DNS, that request will come to the load balancer. So load balancer will come to know, okay, I have a target registered. So this is the target group. So inside the target group, there are two EC2 instances. So now it will balance the load between these two EC2 instances. So it is, the call is not for the load balancer, but the call is for the registered EC2 instances which are running behind the load balancer. Fine, let me just go and check. It is still provisioning. Yeah, the status is active now. We can just try to access this load balancer. If everything is perfect, we'll get the response. Now let's try to hit multiple times. It is still getting the response back. Let me open another tab and check. See, you can see the load balancer is sending the request evenly to both the EC2 instances. So that respective EC2 instance is responding to the call. Simple. So right now, these EC2 instances can be accessed through load balancer or even directly also. See, I'll just show you that as well. Let me go to EC2 instances. Let me copy the public IP and come here and hit the public IP. So I'm still getting the response. So it means what? This EC2 instance is exposed to load balancer as well as to the public internet. So as a best practice, what we usually do is, so we will make sure that these two EC2 instances are accessed only through this load balancer, but not directly. So how can I configure that? Means, so we have a security group which is attached to these two EC2 instances. And then that security group must be modified, stating not internet traffic should be allowed. The traffic from only this load balancer should be allowed. So you remember, right? So when we were creating load balancer, we have added a security group. So this is a security group which will be exposing to the internet, and then all the internet traffic will be allotted by the security group. And the security group, what we have in EC2, will allow only the traffic from this particular load balancer. We usually say the security group. So that's how if you try to configure, okay, and definitely you can achieve that. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you, everyone.